Hey, we're live again, and we're just really happy to be here with you and talking about a very, very, very important subject that I am comfortable with, but it's very uncomfortable for a lot of people, and that is the idea and the subject of numbers. I ran across a book called A Mind for Numbers, and the subtitle is How to Excel in Math and Science, Even if You Flunked Algebra. The book is by Barbara Oakley. It's a fantastic book on learning, problem solving, and mastering difficult subjects. Here's a basic breakdown. There's 5 talking points that I'll be talking about. And the whole idea is that we learn effectively by doing certain things. Barbara explains that the brain switches from focus to diffuse modes of thinking, why procrastination kills progress, and how memory, practice, and persistence are the real keys to mastery. How memory, practice, and persistence are the keys to mastery. The book gives practical tools for overcoming mental blocks, reduce anxiety, and unlocking problem solving potential in any field, including business and life. So, the talking points to start with number one, focused versus diffuse thinking. Focused mode is where you deep concentrate your logic and detail. You're doing the neocortex kind of brain. You're doing the thinking, the logical, the rational kind of stuff. That's really an important part of life, frankly. Very focused and cerebral, if you will. The other kind of thinking is diffuse, where you're relaxed, you're creative, your big picture connections. It's kind of like what you do when you're in the shower or when you're just waking up or you're just getting ready to go to bed. Your mind just kind of floats off to something. There are some real significant things that go on in that mode. And the real magic happens, Barbara says, when you switch between them. You work hard and then you step back and let your subconscious or non-conscious connect the dots of what's going on. Leaders and learners, same people, both need structured focus and downtime. So the two together, the focused and the diffuse, are really important for you in doing life, if you will. Second talking point is the power of practice and spaced repetition. Cramming doesn't stick. If you ever been to college and you did an all-night cram the night before, yeah, I know most of us did that. Learning requires revisiting ideas over time. Cramming just doesn't work. Repetition strengthens neural pathways like building muscle. Although the brain, we figured out, is not a muscle, it does require use. And repetition strengthens those neural pathways just like building muscle does. And consistent short study practice sessions outperform last minute marathons. Cramming works, but it doesn't last. And then finally, apply this to business or leadership. Drip repetition of core ideas builds team mastery. So, especially if you're working in a team environment, you need to be saying the same thing over and over and over and over again. It's a lot of like a script. I come from the Marine Corps for 24 years and then in real estate for 28 years. One of the things we did in the real estate is scripts. You talk to somebody and you have a script. One of my coaches talked about scripts and said that, first of all, you need to imitate the script, word for word for word. Get it down, get the words. The second step of scripting is assimilating. So you've done the words, you've memorized the words, you've memorized the sequence, and then it becomes part of you and you assimilate it. So the words you say are not the words on the script, but the words you say are essentially the essence of the script. So the assimilation is really important. It comes over time, it comes over practice. You don't do it the first time, the second time. And then the third thing you do, if you need to, is to innovate. But normally in a scripting process, you don't need to innovate. You just need to assimilate. But then if something happens or the world is different in terms of a real estate program, you innovate because you can. I'm a helicopter pilot. First time I stepped in a helicopter, instructor pilot said, see if you can hover. Well, I needed a football field to hover. Over time, I got better and better and better. It's a repetition. So you don't do something the first time perfectly, but you do it over time perfectly. And so it's repetition, repetition, repetition. That's the key, not cramming. The third talking point of this book is procrastination and the Pomodoro effect. Procrastination is the biggest learning killer of all time. It creates stress. Yes, it does. So Oakley recommends the Pomodoro Technique, 25 minutes of focused time and 5-minute break. This is a cool little tool I got on the internet. I don't know the brand of this, so I'm not going to sell it, but it's a Pomodoro kind of clock. And it has 6 sides, and on each side is a number. Like, for instance, here's 5, there's 10, there's 25, there's 30, 50, and 60. And so if you want a 60-minute time, you'll pop this up, and it comes up 60 minutes. And then 60, oh, this is a 25. This is a 25. There it is. 25 minutes. It got 25 minutes. The Pomodoro technique specifically is 25 on, 5 off. 25 on, 5 off. So 25 minutes of focused time. And then you can take a 5-minute break to go to the bathroom or get coffee or stand up and just stretch. 25 on, 5 off. Pomodoro is famous for that. There's a number of articles, and in fact, he wrote a book about the Pomodoro effect. So you may want to check that out if you want to, and maybe even get one of these cool clocks. Again, here's this 25-minute. 25 minutes starts. 25 minutes later, a dinger goes off, and you can go back to doing what you're doing. Small, timed focus blocks reduce overwhelm and create momentum. And this works beyond study. Apply a Pomodoro to writing, projects, and strategic planning. Gary Keller, in his book, The One Thing, even talks about doing 4 hours of focus block time every day. Well, you can't do it all in one setting normally. Most people couldn't do that. But if you break it down, chunk it down into 25 to 50-minute blocks, you could do that. So that may be something for you to do. Start small, maybe just do a 25-minute by itself for a day or two, and then jump up to an hour, however much time you want. The fourth talking point about the book of Numbers is chunking information for mastery. You know, the brain learns best when small pieces of information are grouped into chunks. So building mental chunks makes recall and application automatic. So instead of memorizing isolated facts, Barbara suggests to connect them in meaningful patterns. For entrepreneurs, obviously, chunking turns complexity into simple, repeatable frameworks. So you can do this, and then this, and then this, and then this. Just figure out what the chunks are and then go from there. And then finally, the last talking point is persistence over talent. Success in math, science, and life is less about being natural and more about sticking to it. Keep on keeping on, if you will. Struggles and mistakes aren't failure. They're essential for brain growth. Struggles and mistakes aren't failure. Man, tell that to Thomas Edison. They're essential for brain growth. And so eventually you just stick to it. The persistence factor kicks in big time. And truth is that anyone can learn hard things with the right strategy, with the right mindset, and again, with persistence. Commitment to that ultimate goal is really important. And she says that the great reminder is that grit beats genius when it comes to long-term achievement. This book teaches us that learning is not about innate talent, but it's about a process. By managing focus, practicing deliberately, and tackling procrastination, we can master any subject or any challenge in business or life. This book reframes difficulty as opportunity. If it feels hard, you're building brain power. I really enjoyed the concepts of this book, and I hope you will enjoy this as well. Hope you have a good day. Hope you have a great life. Hope you get the deal about numbers. Be persistent. Thanks a lot. God bless you. We'll talk soon. If you want to know more about it, you can go to my website at paulwilsondelivers.com. Be happy to talk to you there. And you can find out about our new program that we've just come out with, which is called the Genius Inner Circle. We do a daily 30-minute mindset mastermind huddle that might be of interest to you, plus some other bonuses. We'll talk to you then. God bless you.